There are 5 million in it. Take your kid and get out. I just transmigrated here, and I was still a little dazed. But my son, Shen, snatched the card away and shoved it back into her hand. His voice was sweet and childish, but every word was clear. My dad said, a breakup should be dignified. We don't need your support payments. Huh. Then he turned and hugged my leg, winking at me. Dad, let's go. I've already picked out 3 pretty ladies at kindergarten. They're gentle and they tell great stories. They're much better than this ice-faced lady. Seeing Ruobing's icy expression crack at once, I held my son and laughed more freely than ever. Looks like I wasn't the one getting burned this time. Holding Shen, I walked out of that suffocating villa. The doors slammed shut behind us, cutting off an entire world. The air tasted like freedom. Shen nuzzled against me and whispered, Dad, we're finally out. I patted his back. Yeah, we're out. The original owner's memories were a complete mess. He drank, gambled, and never amounted to anything. The only thing he'd done right was having this son. Between us, we had only 321.50 yuan in cash. That was Ruobing's idea of dignity. We rented a tiny one-room flat in the old district. The peeling walls were yellowed, but the windows were large, and sunlight streamed in. Shen wasn't spoiled in the slightest for a rich family's little heir. Instead, he excitedly rolled around on the little bed. Dad, this is our secret base. No one gets to boss us around anymore, right? My heart ached. What kind of life had this child lived before? That's right, from now on, Dad makes the rules. I set down our luggage and began planning for the future. For 3 years, the original owner had been a live-in son-in-law. He'd lived like a dog, only to be kicked aside in the end. But I wasn't him. I was Shen Leng. In my past life, I ran the kitchen of a 3 Michelin-starred restaurant. This world's culinary standards were practically elementary school level. I looked out the window. There was a small plaza downstairs, crowded with people at night. An idea came to me. Set up a food stall. I said to Shen, rolling on the bed, Son, do you want delicious food every day? Yes. Then let's sell delicious food and make all the other kids drool with envy. Okay, we'll make lots and lots of money. Then find Dad the world's gentlest, prettiest lady for a wife. Children say the most innocent things, and it made me laugh. All right, let's do it. I decided to start with the simplest dish, and the one that most tested a chef's skill, Char rice. I'd even thought of a name. I'd call it soul-stirring Char rice. The next day, I invested everything we had in a used tricycle and basic cooking gear. I chose a spot beneath a nearby office building. Late at night, exhausted office workers need a hot meal most. Night fell. I parked the tricycle and switched on its dim yellow light. The Char sizzled on the griddle, its sweet honey glaze and rich meaty aroma instantly filling the air. Meanwhile, in that cold villa, Ruobing stood before the enormous floor-to-ceiling window. She watched our retreating figures on the surveillance feed, while her assistant reported quietly beside her. President Leng, they rented a place in the urban village. It's very rundown. Ruobing held a glass of red wine. HMPH. Within 3 days, that useless man will bring the child back and meal to beg for mercy. HMPH. Half an hour after opening, not a single customer had come. The overworked office workers hurried past, giving this unfamiliar stall a glance, then rushing on their way. But I wasn't worried. I focused on controlling the heat. Shen was even more patient than I was. He dragged over a little stool and sat beside me, swinging his little legs. Finally, a girl with a bun and a face full of exhaustion stopped walking. The aroma had drawn her in. Boss, what is this? Soul-stirring Char rice, 30 yuan a serving. The girl hesitated. 30 yuan for egg-fried rice was a little expensive. I filled half a bowl and handed it to her. Try it. If it isn't good, you don't pay. Each grain of rice was distinct, coated in golden egg. The Char had perfect layers of fat and lean meat, melting in her mouth. The sweet and savory sauce burst across her tongue. She even stopped chewing. Her face was filled with disbelief. Shen immediately jumped off his stool and ran to the girl. He tilted up his little face. Miss, isn't my dad's cooking the best in the whole universe? The girl snapped out of it. and nodded firmly. MMHMM. It's delicious, so delicious. Xing puffed out his chest like a little grown-up. If you come every day, I'll give you a loving hug every day. The girl instantly melted from the cuteness. She pulled out her phone and started snapping pictures. No, I have to post this. What kind of heavenly food stall is this? She bought 2 portions on the spot, 1 to eat herself, and 1 to take away. Before she left, Xing opened his arms as promised, and gave her a big hug. Bye, miss. Once we had the first customer, the second and third soon followed. The aroma and the girl's social media post became our best advertisement. Soon, a line formed in front of my stall. Xing completely let loose and became my public relations manager. He came up with an outrageous rule. Only pretty ladies got hugs. Uncles could only buy food and weren't allowed to touch me. Haha. A rugged-looking man didn't believe him and tried to tease him. Kid, if uncle buys an extra serving, will you give uncle a hug too? No, you look way too old for your age, and you'd scare me. The crowd burst into laughter. The man rubbed his nose and laughed too. The line grew longer and longer. Half came for the food, and the other half came to watch this tiny social menace's brilliant performance. Before long, an influencer holding a selfie stick squeezed through the crowd. Hi, everyone, today, we're checking out a fried rice stall whose owner is supposedly gorgeous, and whose son is unbelievably adorable. Before she could finish, Xing pointed at her. Annie, your beauty filter is way too strong. You don't look as pretty in person as you do in your photos. The influencer's face went green. The livestream comments instantly exploded. Haha, kids really do say anything. This kid knows how to livestream. Show me this adorable little truth teller. The influencer was clever, too. She immediately played along and turned the camera on Xing. Sweetie, do you think the ladies watching the livestream are pretty? Xing gave the camera a radiant smile. Pretty? My dad is single and available. He's looking for a new wife online. She must be pretty, gentle, and know how to cook. My ice-face former mom gets rejected first. The livestream completely went wild. The topic, 5-year-old helps his dad find a wife online, rocketed to the top of local trends. I watched my son thrive among all those beautiful women, throwing out one witty line after another. I was annoyed and amused at once. This kid really was something else. By the end of the day, our sales had topped 4,000 yuan. After closing the stall, I took him to buy his favorite Ultraman cards. But he didn't open them. He tucked them into his pocket like treasure. I thought he was keeping them for himself. HMPH. But the next day, the girl with the bun came back. She had become our biggest fan. Xing mysteriously pulled her aside. Hey, Miss Wenya, this is for you. You were the first person to buy my dad's food yesterday. The girl's name was Wenya. She was a nurse. She was flattered and startled, and repeatedly waved her hands in refusal. But Xing put on a stern little face. My dad said, we should repay kindness. Take it, and then you have to come every day. Watching this, my heart felt warm. This kid was better with people than I was. The power of trending searches was immense. The next day, my little stall was packed tight with people, and Leng Ruobing finally couldn't sit still. Her assistant held a tablet and nervously reported to her. President Leng, Mr. Shen and the young master seem to have gone viral online. They say Mr. Shen's stall is doing extremely well. He is not down and out at all. Leng Ruobing scrolled through the screen. She saw that glaring trending topic. She saw Shen Lang surrounded by young women. She saw Xing beaming in someone else's arms. She clenched her phone. Down and out. Was this what they called down and out? They were clearly living it up. She thought they would come back in tears and beg her. Instead, they had immediately started a new life. They even dared to publicly find her replacement online. A nameless rage shot straight to her head. She snatched up her car keys. Get the car ready. A black Maybach pulled up at the corner of the grimy food street. Like a beast that had wandered into a slum, Leng Ruobing wore a custom designer suit and stepped out in 4-inch heels. Her powerful presence instantly silenced the area. She had imagined their reunion countless times. Shen Lang would be shocked, flustered, and meek when he saw her. But none of that happened. Between tosses of the walk, I gave her an indifferent glance. Then I went back to work. as if she were an irrelevant passerby. The feeling of being completely ignored made Leng Ruobing's face turn livid. She couldn't accept it. She was supposed to be the one in control. Shen Xing spotted her right away. He immediately wriggled free from Wenyu's arms, like a little leopard guarding its food, and rushed in front of me. He spread his arms wide. Dangerous person. Stay at least 3 meters away from my dad. His childish voice was full of hostility. Leng Ruobing shook with rage. Shen Xing. Come here. I am your mother. Her voice was shrill, stripped of its usual calm. Not only did Shen Xing refuse to go to her, he turned toward the onlooking crowd and shouted with all his strength. Everyone, take a good look. This is the wicked woman who abandoned her husband and child. She saw our business was doing well and came to ruin it again. My dad works from dawn till dark to support me. What right does she have to bully us? The crowd instantly erupted. So he is that dad who went viral. My God, his ex-wife is so beautiful. How can she be so heartless? So what if she drives a luxury car? Does having money mean she can bully people? The whispers and accusations pierced Leng Ruobing like countless needles. She had never suffered such humiliation. She stood in the middle of the crowd, like a clown being publicly executed. Yet I never looked at her. I simply handed Wenya a freshly made serving of soul-stirring char siu rice. My voice was neither loud nor soft, just loud enough for her to hear. Try it. I made it with extra honey today. That gentle tone was something she had never received. Leng Ruobing broke down, under everyone's contemptuous stares, and Shen Leng's faintly mocking expression. She practically fled back to her car. She gripped the steering wheel tightly, veins bulging across the backs of her hands. She couldn't understand how things had become like this. Inside the car, Leng Ruobing spoke into the phone, each word a command. Make his stall disappear immediately. There was no warmth in her voice, only ice-cold ruthlessness. She would never let Shen Leng enjoy himself like this. And she would never allow Shen Xing to call another woman mom. The next day, just as I opened my stall, a squad of city inspectors aggressively surrounded us. The captain in charge wore a grim expression. We received a public complaint. You are operating without a license. Your hygiene standards are subpar. We are shutting this place down according to the law. The customers and vendors nearby were stunned. But I wasn't surprised at all. This was exactly Leng Ruobing's style. Unhurried, I wiped my hands, then reached into a small, hidden compartment in the tricycle and pulled out a stack of documents. This is my business license. This is my health certificate. This is my food service permit. All ingredients were purchased fresh that day from licensed markets. The receipts are all here. I laid out every permit and receipt, one by one before them. They were far too complete for a roadside stall. The inspector's captain froze. In all his years on the job, he had never seen a mobile vendor with paperwork this complete. The regular customers nearby came to their senses and immediately crowded around. What right do you have to shut down his stall? Shen's stall is the cleanest around. We eat here every day, and none of us has ever had a problem. This father and son rely on this to survive. Are you trying to take away their livelihood? Wenya pushed her way into, standing protectively in front of me. You can't do this. You need evidence for an accusation. The moment Shen Xing saw the scene, he instantly went into award-winning actor mode. Sirs, please don't take my dad away. If you take away our livelihood, my dad and I will have to sleep under a bridge and beg for food. I don't want to be a little beggar. He cried as if his heart were breaking. Anyone who heard him was heartbroken, and anyone who saw him was moved to tears. I sighed at just the right moment, wearing a helpless expression for the crowd. Well, what can I do? I had to go and offend my wealthy, powerful ex-wife. She lives in a mansion and drives a Maybach. She can't stand seeing my son and me enjoy even one good day. That single remark ignited everyone's anger. Their fury instantly turned on the city inspectors. So officials and businessmen are colluding to bully ordinary people. You're acting like lapdogs for the rich. We're filming this and putting it online. Let everyone see your true faces. The inspector's captain began to sweat. He had only received a call from his superiors to put on a show. He never expected to stir up a hornet's nest. If this really got posted online, he would lose his uniform and his job. It's all a misunderstanding. He tried to calm the crowd while signaling to me with his eyes. In the end, he could only lead his team away in disgrace. Inside the Maybach in the distance, Leng Ruobing watched the absurd scene through binoculars. She trembled with fury. For the first time, she realized the power and wealth she had always been so proud of were so powerless before these ordinary people. This incident was soon filmed by an onlooker and posted online. The provocative headline read, "Domineering ex-wife uses connections to crush food stall ex-husband, only to be publicly shamed by kin-hearted locals." In the video, my calmness and Shen Xing's acting, the crowd's righteous support, and the inspector's humiliation made a striking contrast. My image as the devoted man she abandoned unexpectedly took hold. My little stall became even busier than before. Many people came all the way from other districts, not to eat, but simply to support me and curse that venomous ex-wife of mine. Leng Ruobing lost on all fronts. To straight defeats plunged Leng Ruobing into deep self-doubt. She began to wonder why the man she once thought hopeless had, after leaving her, become an entirely different person. She told her assistant to investigate everything about Shen Leng after he was thrown out. His bank records, social contacts, and spending habits. The findings shocked her. The old Shen Leng spent his money either at bars or at casinos. But now, Shen Leng accounted clearly for every expense. Other than groceries and kitchen equipment, he only bought toys and snacks for Shen Xing. He had quit drinking, quit gambling, and become like a different man. Leng Ruobing couldn't make sense of it. Full of questions, she returned to the family estate. The Leng family patriarch, Shen Xing's maternal great-grandfather, had always adored his great-grandson. At dinner, the old master looked at his troubled granddaughter and sighed. "Ruobing, could there be some misunderstanding between you and Leng?" Leng Ruobing gripped her chopsticks without speaking. The old master had the butler bring over a document envelope. "Take a look at this." Leng Ruobing opened it. Inside was a detailed investigation report and several high-resolution photographs. The photographs showed Shen Leng with a seductive woman, tugging at each other outside a hotel. That photograph had been the final straw that destroyed their marriage. When she saw it, she had been furious. She refused to hear any explanation from Shen Leng and condemned him without a second thought. But the investigation clearly showed that her business rival, Tianyu, had fabricated the photograph using artificial intelligence. That woman had been sent by Tianyu. Shen Leng had been framed from beginning to end. Leng Ruobing held those photographs, her hands shaking violently. She had been wrong. She had pushed her own husband away with her own hands and nailed him to a pillar of shame. She thought of her son, Shen Xing. He used to hide whenever he saw Shen Leng, like a mouse spotting a cat. But now, Shen Xing protected his father like a little guardian. For the first time, overwhelming guilt swallowed her whole. She wanted to make amends, but she didn't know how. She was used to solving problems with money. So she anonymously ordered a top-tier food truck worth a six-figure sum in yuan and had it delivered directly to my stall. The food truck was fully equipped, brand new and gleaming, a stark contrast to my battered tricycle. The delivery driver said it was a gift from a woman who wished to remain anonymous. I looked at the food truck and smiled. Then I turned around and posted a message in our customer group chat to thank everyone for your continued support. We're holding a raffle today. The prize is one brand new luxury food truck. Raffle rules. Enter with today's receipt. The group chat instantly exploded. I gave the food truck away as a prize without hesitation. I even included a note. I don't accept rewards I haven't earned, especially not something from an unknown source. I wouldn't feel right using it. Meanwhile, Leng Ruobing's assistant showed her a screenshot of the group chat. When she read Shen Leng's words, something from an unknown source, it felt like her chest had been stabbed again. Only then did she sadly realize she knew nothing about Shen Leng. When Ya ultimately won the luxury food truck, of course, she couldn't accept it. In the end, we agreed to sell it at a reduced price and donate the money to an orphanage. After that, when Ya and I grew closer, after work, she often came to help at my stall. Unlike Leng Ruobing, she wasn't afraid to get her hands dirty. She helped me wash the vegetables, poured water for customers waiting in line, and made refreshing lemon tea. Shen Xing was completely won over by her. He stopped calling her Ms. Wenya and started calling her Mama Wenya. That day, Leng Ruobing came again. This time, she had traded her designer suit for an ordinary casual outfit. She wasn't even wearing makeup. She waited at the back of the line, like any other customer. When her turn came, she lowered her head, her voice slightly awkward. "One serving of soul-stirring char siu rice." I was about to serve her when Shen Xing grabbed Wenya's hand and dashed over to me. tilting up his head. He spoke in a bright, clear voice. Daddy, look, Mama Wenya came to help us again today. The lemonade Mama Wenya makes is the best in the whole world. The words Mama Wenya made Leng Ruobing go rigid. Wenya's face instantly flushed red as she tried to explain. Sweetheart, don't call me that. But Shen Xing clung tightly to her leg, casting Leng Ruobing a defiant glance. I don't care. You're Mama Wenya, compared to someone who only drinks ice water and doesn't even know when her own son is sick. You're 10,000 times better. His childish words were innocent, but every word struck straight at her heart. Leng Ruobing's face turned deathly pale. I ignored the tension simmering between them. I merely smiled and patted Shen Xing's head. Then, I casually took a glass of lemonade from Wenya. Thanks for helping. My gaze was gentle, and my tone affectionate. Leng Ruobing saw it all. She stood there, looking at the three of us. Me, Wenya, and her son. The scene was warm and harmonious, just like a real family of three. While she looked like the outsider who didn't belong, a bitter, angry feeling churned violently in her chest. It was jealousy. She clenched her fist, her nails digging deep into her palms. Any thought of buying food vanished. Without a word, she turned and left. Her retreating figure was hurried and forlorn. Back in the vast, empty villa, she locked herself in her office. For the first time in her life, she canceled every meeting that evening and sat alone in the dark all night. She couldn't understand. She was Shen Xing's mother. So, why did he call someone else Mama? And she understood even less. Why seeing Shen Lang smile at another woman made her heart hurt so badly. Leng Ruobing decided to take matters into her own hands. She spent the entire night searching online for 100 ways to win back an ex. The next day, she began her clumsy campaign. First move, flowers. A truck stopped at the entrance to the food street. Several florists unloaded 999 gorgeous red roses and piled them in front of my stall. It was quite a spectacle, drawing a huge crowd. The card read, Shen Leng, can we start over? Signed, Leng Ruobing. She made sure everyone knew about it. I picked up a loudspeaker and called out to the crowd. My ex-wife sent flowers to win me back, but I can't accept them. Every lovely lady who visits today gets one rose. There are enough for everyone. The women instantly cheered and rushed forward to share the celebration. They divided up every last rose. In a car nearby, Leng Ruobing looked absolutely furious. Second move, book the whole place. She sent her assistant over, who slapped down a check. President Leng wants to reserve your stall for today and have you cook a private meal for her. I pushed the check back. I only sell my food to people who truly want to eat it, not to people who think they can throw money at me. If she wants food, she can wait in line. The assistant got nowhere and left in embarrassment. Third move, stage chance encounters. Every day, she began showing up in out-of-place designer suits and high heels at my food stall. She wanted to help out, hoping to grow closer to us. But she either spilled my secret soy sauce or, in her high heels, nearly slipped on the greasy floor, forcing me to catch her. Shen Xing gave her a nickname, Troublemaker. He even hand-drew a Troublemaker observation diary and taped it to my tricycle cart. In crooked handwriting, it said, Troublemaker spilled the soy sauce. Daddy's face went dark. Tuesday, Troublemaker almost fell. Daddy caught her. Troublemaker tried to cut onions, but the fumes made her cry. She cries even more than I do. The diary became the food street's newest running joke. Every day, before eating, customers would first check whether the diary had been updated. With every round of public humiliation, Leng Ruobing quickly grew thicker-skinned. She also tried to win Shen Xing over. She bought the latest Lego set and the most expensive remote control race car. The moment Shen Xing received them, right in front of her, he gave them to the neighbor's child. These toys take no skill. I stopped playing with them when I was 3. She wanted to tell Shen Xing a bedtime story, trying to reclaim some sense of being a mother. But when she sat beside Shen Xing's bed and picked up the storybook, what she began reading was, our company's third-quarter financial report shows a 15% year-over-year increase. Shen Xing grew drowsy listening to her. In the end, hugging the teddy bear when Ya had given him, he fell straight asleep. I watched this woman, once so high and mighty, doing it all for my son and me, fumbling through one foolish thing after another. I felt no satisfaction at getting revenge, only an absurd sense of amusement. That evening, she was awkwardly washing vegetables again. Perhaps she had stood in high heels for too long. She stumbled, losing her grip on the cleaver. It came straight down toward her fingers. My heart lurched. I lunged forward instinctively and grabbed her wrist. Her slender hand was warm. The cleaver clattered onto the floor. She froze. So did I. It was the first time since our divorce that we had touched at such close range. I could smell her cool, crisp perfume mingled with a faint trace of cooking fumes. For a moment, the air seemed to freeze. That accidental touch brought a subtle easing to our relationship. Ruobing stopped running around like a headless chicken. She simply came quietly to help at my stall every day, doing whatever she could without getting in the way, like packing food for customers or wiping down tables. Though she was still clumsy, at least she did not cause any more major disasters. I thought life would remain peaceful like this until Tianyu appeared. Tianyu was Ruobing's sworn business rival and the one who had framed me with forged photos. Somehow, he heard that Ruobing was pursuing a street vendor. He felt deeply humiliated. I was a worthless man he had once toyed with, a man Ruobing had discarded like trash. Why should I still have her favor? His jealousy drove him mad. He decided to destroy me completely. That day, a man in a baseball cap and face mask came to my stall. He ordered a meal. After only 2 bites, he leaped up with a scream and violently smashed his bowl on the ground. Hey! What the hell? There is a cockroach in this food. He pointed at the spilled food and shouted. Amid the mess, there really was a dead black cockroach. The nearby diners erupted in outrage. The man would not let it go. He pulled out his phone and began filming me. Unscrupulous vendor, I am exposing you. Everyone, look. There is a cockroach in the food from that viral stall. The video quickly spread online. Public opinion turned against me in an instant. The devoted man the whole internet had sympathized with yesterday became, overnight, a filthy, disgusting, unscrupulous vendor. The health department was flooded with calls. Soon, my stall was sealed off and ordered to close for inspection. Faced with all of it, I was remarkably calm. I knew Tianyu was behind it. At the sight of the white seal, Shen cried for the first time. He was not crying because we could not do business, but because he thought I had been wronged. He clung to my leg, sobbing so hard he could barely breathe. Dad, they are bad people. Your food is the cleanest, Dad. Are we going to have to beg for food again? No, Dad will not let anyone bully us. When Ya rushed over immediately, she did not ask a single question. She only said firmly, Shen Leng, I believe you. Meanwhile, when Ruobing saw the news, she almost instantly realized that Tianyu was behind it. A towering rage burned in her chest. She could tolerate him hurting her, but anyone who hurt the people she cared about, she would not spare a single one. She called Tianyu directly. You did this? That is right, President Leng. Surprised. Did you expect it? I just wanted you to see what kind of trash you care so much about. He is just a bug I can crush whenever I please. Ruobing, I suggest you stay away from him. Otherwise, next time, the cockroach may not be in the food. It was a blatant threat. Ruobing hung up. Her whole body trembled. But she did not come explain herself to me, nor did she argue online. She returned to her company, summoned every key executive, and issued one order. Activate every contingency plan. Within 3 days, I want Tianyu Group gone from this city. Tianyu thought he had one. He waited to see me ruined, and Ruobing bowed her head to him. But he miscalculated 2 things. First, I was no longer the worthless man anyone could manipulate 3 years ago. Second, he had provoked a truly crazy woman. On my food cart, I had long installed a 360-degree pinhole camera with no blind spots. I had prepared it for my first day running the stall. This was exactly the kind of stunt I was guarding against. I had recorded everything from him lining up to order, to secretly dropping the cockroach into his own bowl, to causing a scene. All of it in crystal clear detail. I did not call the police. The police would be too slow. I would use the most effective way to turn public opinion around. I contacted that online influencer from last time. That night, I went live to reveal the truth. During the live stream, I did not play victim, nor did I scream and rage. First, I showed them my prep area, which met 5-star hotel kitchen standards. Every ingredient was sealed in plastic wrap and stored in separate sections. Raw and cooked foods were kept separate. I released the complete surveillance footage. The evidence was irrefutable. The entire frame-up was seen clearly by millions of viewers online. The livestream comments shifted from doubt to shock, then to fury. Holy crap, this is an outright frame-up. That is disgusting. We have to identify this man. The owner was framed. We support the owner seeking justice. Public opinion reversed instantly. And while I was live streaming, a financial attack against Tianyu Group was quietly beginning as well. Leng Ruobing mobilized all of Leng Group's resources and connections. She precisely uncovered evidence that Tianyu Group had falsified its accounts and evaded taxes. She handed it straight to the regulators. She joined forces with several investment firms to ruthlessly hammer Tianyu Group stock. Overnight, Tianyu Group's share price crashed, bringing it to the brink of collapse. Early the next morning, tax officials and economic crimes investigators sealed Tianyu Group's doors. Zhao Tianyu was taken away for questioning. He was overwhelmed, under attack from every side. With no time left to meddle in my affairs, my food stall was unsealed. The day it reopened, twice as many people came as before. Many had not even come to eat. They had come especially to tell me, "Keep going, boss." As I watched my lively stall bustle once more, I knew perfectly well that Leng Ruobing deserved credit for it. An unspoken understanding had formed between us. She sat in an inconspicuous black sedan at the street corner, watching me from afar. She watched my confident smile and the long line forming again. For the first time, she experienced the strange feeling of fighting side by side. Shen stood on a little stool, hands on his hips. Like a victorious general, he proudly announced to the customers, "Anyone who wants to take down my dad should ask my mom." He stumbled over his words. "I mean, ask whether my future new moms will allow it." The crowd burst into warm laughter again. The trouble with Zhao Tianyu soon died down. Leng Ruobing seemed to have learned her lesson too. She stopped pulling those over-the-top CEO stunts. Instead, she quietly lined up every day to buy a meal. Sometimes, she helped out with small things. She did not say much, but her eyes were no longer so cold. Occasionally, I spoke a few words with her, about the weather, or about funny things Shen did at kindergarten. The tension between us was no longer so sharp. Just when I thought things between us would slowly improve, something unexpected happened. Late one night, Shen suddenly woke up crying. His little face was deathly pale. Clutching his stomach, he rolled around in bed, vomiting and having diarrhea. I was terrified. I grabbed him and rushed to the hospital. The emergency room was packed at that late hour. I registered, lined up, and paid the fees, fumbling about with my burning hot son in my arms. In my panic, I somehow found myself calling Leng Ruobing. She answered almost instantly. "Hello. Shen is sick. We are at City First Hospital's emergency room." The moment I finished speaking, all I heard was the busy signal. Less than 20 minutes later, the hurried click of high heels drew closer. Leng Ruobing wore silk pajamas, with a trench coat thrown carelessly over them. Her hair was disheveled, and all color had drained from her face. She rushed to my side, seeing Shen on the hospital bed, connected to and for, barely awake. Her eyes instantly reddened. She wanted to reach out and touch her son, but her hand froze halfway there. She looked utterly helpless. How did this happen? Should we transfer him to the best private hospital? I will bring in the best pediatric specialist for a consultation. This was the only way she knew how to show concern. Half asleep, Shen murmured weakly. "Wenya. Sister Wenya." My heart tightened. I had no choice but to call Wenya despite my reluctance. Wenya got the call and hurried over right away. As soon as she arrived, she expertly dampened a towel with warm water, gently wiping Shen's forehead and palms. She held Shen's little hand and softly told him stories. Soothed by her, Shen's breathing gradually steadied. The deep furrow in his brow slowly eased, and he fell into a deep sleep. Throughout it all, Leng Ruobing stood to one side, like an outsider with no place there. She watched Wenya's attentive, practiced care, then looked at her own panic and helplessness. A crushing sense of powerlessness engulfed her. She could command a business empire with tens of thousands of employees. Yet when her own son had a fever, she did not even know what to do. Watching this, my emotions were a tangled mess. In Leng Ruobing's eyes, I saw genuine worry and heartache, but also her complete failure as a mother. Everything she had done for us. I had seen it all. But the hurt was real, too. My heart was in turmoil. Wenya had an early shift the next day, So after confirming little treasure was stable, she left first. Only Leng, Ruobing, and I remained in the emergency room hallway. The air reeked of disinfectant. It was so quiet, we could hear each other breathing. We simply stood there, neither of us saying a word. After a long while, Leng Ruobing finally spoke. Her voice was terribly hoarse. "I am sorry." I said nothing. She turned away, no longer looking at me. Instead, she stared at the dark window at the end of the hall. I was raised as an heir from childhood. Her tone was flat, as if she were describing someone else's life. I was not allowed to have preferences, or friends, or any emotions that could cloud my judgment. Everyone told me I had to be cold-blooded, had to be strong. Marrying you was grandfather's arrangement, to secure the company's shares. From the very beginning, I viewed you with prejudice. She took a deep breath. Tianyu's manipulation only made me even more convinced I was right. I did not know how to love someone, much less how to be a mother. I drove you away, thinking I had removed a problem. But every day, when I returned to that empty house, and could no longer hear little treasure stammering the word mom, I finally realized what I had cast aside was my only family. At last, she turned to face me. Her eyes were red, brimming with tears, yet she stubbornly refused to let them fall. It was a vulnerability in Leng Ruobing I had never seen before. "Shen Leng, I did not come today to beg for your forgiveness. I only wanted to tell you that I was wrong. Completely wrong." The woman before me gradually overlapped with, then drifted apart from, the image in my memory of that aloof, harsh, ice-cold CEO. I was silent for a long time. Then I pulled a pack of tissues from my pocket, took one out, and held it out to her. "Do not let our son see you like this tomorrow. He will think onions made you cry again." Sigh. She froze. She took the tissue and lowered her head. A scorching tear fell onto the back of my hand. When Xing woke up the next day, he saw Leng Ruobing and me by his bedside, wearing matching dark circles beneath our eyes. He blinked his big eyes. "Dad, Troublemaker, why are you both here?" For once, Leng Ruobing blushed. When he was discharged, she naturally reached for Xing's hand, but Xing instinctively dodged away, hiding behind me. Only his wary eyes peeked out at her. Leng Ruobing's hand hung awkwardly in midair. I crouched down, looked at my son, and said seriously, "Son, Dad has decided to give Ms. Leng a chance." Xing tilted his head, completely confused. I continued, "She will be our trainee mom. She must pass the evaluation before she can become official. And you are the evaluator." Leng Ruobing was stunned. Then, a dazzling light burst from her eyes, as though she had seized a lifeline. She nodded firmly. "I accept the evaluation." Xing folded his arms and solemnly sized Leng Ruobing up. He cleared his throat, putting on an air of authority. "All right, trainee mom number 1. I am assigning you your first evaluation task. Go home and cook me a meal today. The requirement is, it can be less than delicious, but it absolutely cannot taste bad. Can you do that?" A trace of hesitation crossed Leng Ruobing's face, but she still stood at attention solemnly, like a soldier receiving orders. "I guarantee I will complete the mission." Watching the big one and the little one, I could not help but laugh. I stood up, then turned to Leng Ruobing and said, "Ha ha ha. By the way, I have only one evaluation criterion." She looked at me nervously. "When will you learn to smile for a reason other than onions?" Leng Ruobing looked at me, then at the solemn-faced Xing. In the warm morning sunlight, the volcano beneath her long frozen exterior finally seemed to stir. The corners of her tense lips, clumsily, yet sincerely, lifted slightly into a small, tentative curve. It was not a perfect smile, but it was more alive than any expression she had worn before. I knew our story was only just beginning.